Welcome everyone to another Saturday school, another day of learning and coming together to reason so that we can take this hearing and continue doing. That is the goal, right? To hear and do, over and over and over, right? So welcome everyone. Welcome to another Mindset Saturday. Happy Saturday, another week. Another Saturday school getting started. Welcome everyone. Hope everyone had a great week. It's good to see you all. I always appreciate, we always appreciate you showing up and coming. It's nice to see all of you even earlier than 7 a lot of times now. So that's wonderful. Nice to talk to everyone. So welcome everyone. All right. So we're firing out the gate today. I used to be, these are quotes. All right. So I know a lot of you can't, you may be able to read some of it. I just really wrote it down so I could read it to you. So don't worry so much about it. But I used to be a slave. So this is like Jeopardy. Who is saying this? I used to be a slave. Until I was 21 years old, my father rented me out to the neighbors and collected 10 to 31 cents per day. My father was a semi-literate runaway slave, fugitive, and considered formal education a waste of time. In this person's own self-description, they talked about their height and all the other stuff, and they talked about their physical features. And one of the last things they said about themselves was no other marks or brands recollected. Now that part, this part right here is really interesting, the no other marks or brands, because that statement is a statement used to describe the physical attributes of runaway slaves or of slaves, period, whether they run away or whether they were still captive. It was basically giving a physical description of someone who had run away. And if they had tattoos or if it was one of their physical features they described, whether they had marks or brands, because a good amount of them were actually marked and branded as, right, chattel, right? So things like that. So I used to be a slave. No other marks or brands recollected. Until I was 21 years old, my father rented me out to the neighbors and collected 10 to 31 cents per day. My father was a semi-literate runaway slave, a fugitive, and considered formal education a waste of time. If you had to guess, who is this person in history? It's a famous person. This is their own self-description. When this person said it, people were, I don't know if they were surprised, but they were surprised. They were either surprised he was this, or formally, or that he was saying that he was telling people. But he did. Who is this person?
Who is Frederick Douglass?
Frederick Douglass?
Nobody was saying anything. I was filling in the dry space. Nobody was saying anything, so I just threw something
Okay.
out.
Frederick Douglass, okay. Who else? We need at least 3 guesses.
Hi, can you read it? I'm just joining and I can't see it.
Yes. I used to be a slave. Until I was 21 years old, my father rented me out to the neighbors and collected 10 to 31 cents per day. My father was a semi-literate runaway slave, fugitive, and considered formal education a waste of time. His father was a carpenter and wanted him to take up something in a labor trade himself. His last statement was no other marks or brands recollected. That was slave language talking about a physical attribute that someone has when people were being chased down or for being a fugitive, for being a runaway slave, for running away. Anyone else? We need 2 more guesses.
I think my guess would be cheating because I kind of have a feeling I may know.
Okay.
Patrick Henry.
Who?
Patrick Henry. You know the
Patrick
guy
Henry?
that, yeah, the railroad guy.
Okay, one more. This is like a warm-up. This is like stretching. This is not a performance. This is you stretch before you work out.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki. All right. That would really be deep.
That'd be deep.
Okay. So this is Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, no, I was wrong.
Abraham Lincoln announced this at one of his campaign speeches. And towards the end of the speech, before he said no other marks or brands recollected, he talked about how he was 6'4", 190 pounds, tall, lean, thin, that he had black coarse hair, dark brown eyes, and dark skinned. And towards the end of that, he said no other marks or brands recollected. He was talking about his physical features. And that's how slaves were described, all their physical features, including brands or markings, right? But this is him. He said, I used to be a slave. Until I was 21 years old, my father rented me out to all the neighbors to do all kind of field hand work, rail splitting. He was doing all kind of things. And for 10 to 31 cents a day, his father was a fugitive as well. Abraham Lincoln was one as well. He ran away from his father. He was an indentured servant. See, slavery back then was not what it came to be here. Slavery was about economics primarily. And indentures, another famous indenture was Benjamin Franklin. He was an indenture to his father. His father rented him out to his older brother. And then eventually he left Boston and went to Philadelphia running from his brother. Abraham Lincoln, he ran away from his father, essentially. Just like his father got out of Kentucky and went to, was it Indiana or Ohio? One of the two. But these people were all indentures. They were basically loaned out for hire. And most of the people back in the day used to do that. Black and white families would loan their kids out to other neighbors or people in the community to A, make money, and B, to get them to learn a trade or a skill. That's how Benjamin Franklin learned printing. That's why he's on the $100 bill. Because he understood how to make money, how to stop counterfeiting and things like that, because he ran his brother's paper mill for a couple years before he finally just decided, because his brother was Ike Turner. He was out there beating up everybody. Essentially, he was out of his mind. So this is Abraham Lincoln. Now, when we talk about, I was having a conversation this morning before 7, we talk about changing relationships. Relationships aren't just with other people, we can also change our relationship with ourselves. Relationships with with ourselves. Last week we read the prodigal son. He decided to change his relationship. He decided, hey, I gotta go back. I went off the rails, I can turn around. And his father ran out to meet him and said, quick, restore him, essentially, restore him to what he was before he left. We have a hard time being willing to restore ourselves to something, or being willing to move on to the next thing that we can become, because we spend too much time fixating and ruminating and being depressed and anxious and worried and stressed and feeling like we have to heal ourselves and all kind of other stuff in order to just move on. You can spend your time healing yourself. That doesn't mean that you're okay. Now your scar is healed. Now what? Right? You could be moving on, moving forward. You're still in the same spot. Right? So just like that story, you can move forward and move on to what you want to be next. Abraham Lincoln said, last thing he said was, like other runaways, I was able to remake my identity, and I never took it for granted. He remade his identity. As business people, Veronica's always talking about branding and rebranding. That's rebranding. He went from a slave to the president. He said, I used to be a slave and now I'm free. Then now they allow me to practice law. He was a bartender, he had a bartending license. He was an incredible wrestler. I think he only lost like one match in like 5 years, something crazy, like 101 or 99-1.
Wow.
All these things you would never know about a person. You would never know what they have been because of what you see them as now. But if they would have remained or been so fixated on what they had been, you would never know them for what you know them for. We can redefine our relationship with others and ourselves. A lot of times the hardest rebranding we have is our own self-branding.
Okay.
Our own self-markings, right? Our own self-branding and self-markings. We won't let it go. We won't abandon that title, that mental concept of slavery, of being enslaved, of being stuck in the pig pen like we talked about last week. But you can. He went from that. His father didn't believe in education. He ended up being a lawyer and the president. And his father didn't even believe in education. He thought it to be to, get your head out of the clouds, so to speak. Right? So he ran away from his father eventually when he could. But look what he became. So we only know him for one thing, but this is what he was before that thing. We are all something before we're something else. And just because of what we are now doesn't mean we can't be the next thing. And when you're that next thing, somebody may only ever know you as that thing. And what they know you as is as real to them as what someone who knew you before when you were something else is to them. So which one of those are real? Either they both are, they both aren't, they both matter, they both don't. One matters at one time, one matters, but you are as real to whomever you meet at the time that they meet you. That's who you are to them. And he said, like other runaways, I remade my identity and I never took it for granted. When runaway slaves got caught, there would be people who would reach out to Abraham Lincoln and he would try to help. Because he was one himself. He knew what they were running from. These people were indentures. Indentures started at about 7 years old. Your mom or your dad could be like, come on, man, put your shoes on. We're going down the street. You working for Henry and Thelma and Betty and Lenny for the next whatever else it is. And they would take all your money and they would make money off you and you would hopefully learn a skill. That was basically the trade-off. But this person became president. Benjamin Franklin's on a $100 bill. Right? They were both indentures. They were both runaway slaves. If you read Benjamin Franklin, one of his autobiographies, he talks about how he had to really watch how he spoke and how he had to really watch how he dressed, how his mannerisms, because he ran away, I think it was like 17. So he said, because if I don't watch what I say, I don't watch how I dress, I don't watch how I carry myself, people will become suspicious that I'm a runaway. See, there were white slaves just like black ones. The first ones were white, they weren't black. They were white. Right? That's not the point of this conversation, but because but the point of it is that slavery wasn't color-based originally. It became that. It can become anything once you have power. You can make anything once you have the power. Right? But at the beginning, it was about resources. It was about getting the resources, whether it was money, land, or whatever else it is. Once you acquired that and accumulated that, then you divvy it out to whomever you wanted. By family, by skin, by blood, by color, by gender, by whatever it is you wanted to do that. But you had to get it first. Right? So my point is that saying all this to say is that you can change your relationship. But the first and most important one to change is your own. Everyone is trying to change the whole world and everything outside of them and refuse to look at themselves, refuse to realize who they could be, what they want to be. What do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to live? That's what you want to live. Everybody's not obligated to agree with you, believe in you, believe it. That's their life. That's their vision. That's their sight. They have their own set of things. They have their own thing going. It's not all about you in that sense. It's not always that. People have their own situations going, right? You have to love yourself enough and see yourself valuable enough to say, I'm going this way, even if it's on my own. Because it's my own life. You coming in on your own, you're going out on your own. You in that box under the ground on your own. Wherever you go, wherever we go, let's just say it doesn't matter. You going on your own. This is a you thing. And if you understand that and respect that, then you're okay with going your own way in the middle or the beginning and the end, because that's what's going to happen. So you can do it voluntarily or involuntarily. You can make a choice to do it the way you want to do it, but it's going to get done. It's like you came in here, like you going out of here, and what's happening while you're here? You just have a bunch of people around you here. There's a bunch of people around others in the graveyard too. But there's still only one person in that box. Right? So when you're up here, when you're standing up, before you lay down for a while you're standing up, make sure that you have a vision for yourself that's important enough for you to hold on to become and all that other stuff, regardless of what anybody else is talking about, because that is your responsibility to yourself. Right? So, all right, everybody get that one?
Yes.
Got it.
Oh, no,
Oh.
the people responded, it's
Okay.
our speaker, so our speaker guys, like, sometimes when you first say something, I could see you're unmuting and your mic moving, but we can't hear until like you speak for like a certain amount of time. I gotta look into that.
All right, well, I blame you guys, not myself. Oh, that's what I do. All right,
I've been busy.
say it. All right, I'm gonna start off with the title today.
Are you gonna use the punctuations? Okay, for those, great.
Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Title of today. Really? Really? Like really? 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 For real? Like real? Really? For real? Really? 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 Is that what you're gonna do? Is that a good thing to do? Is that what you're thinking? Is that how you're gonna handle that? Is that what you believe? Is that worth it? Like really? Really? Is that working for you? Really? Like you really want to do that? Like, do you really think that's the best way to think about that? That's the best way to handle that? Really? You're doing your best, really? You're trying your hardest, really? Oh, I'm a good person, really? Like, really? Exclamation point, question mark, period, comma, really? Think about, I want us to think about what we're thinking about. I want us to think about the beliefs we hold, the values we hold, the thoughts that we are consistently thinking. What do they say? You think about around 70 thoughts a day on average? Not just the passing ones, the ones we hold on to, the beliefs, the thoughts, the feelings that we fight for, that we justify, that we rationalize, that we hold on to, fight for, all these different things. Really? Is that really what you want to do? Is that really helping you? Is that really making your life the way you want it to be? Whether it's in creation, whether it is in maintenance, whether that is in increase, whether that is it actually, is this real? Is that really? Like really? Are we actually stopping and taking a look at and actually just thinking about, yeah, really? Like really? You really want to believe that? You really want to say that right now? You really want to do that right now? You really think that's good? Or you really think that's not gonna work? You really don't believe that? You, like, really? Really? Because if you look around your life, if we look around our lives, that's what you're looking at, all the realities. You're looking at what you really think, what you really believe, what you really feel. That's what you're looking at. Because that's the only thing that can be expressed. Is what you believe in, even if it's not good, but you believe it. You're giving it life. Whether it's good or bad, that's just the outcome of the belief. The belief is neutral. The outcome isn't. The belief doesn't care what you believe, and it doesn't take you any more effort to believe this or that as far as what it takes to produce that belief. It may take you more effort to believe what you're trying to believe. That's just because you already have a counter belief. That's why kids believe anything so easily, because they don't have counter beliefs yet. I want you to really think about really. Like, really? You really want to do that? Really? You saying that? Really? Is that what you're thinking? That's really what you're going to do? That's really? You said that for real? Really? You thought you were really going to get away with that? Or you thought, like, really? Like, everybody's talking about keeping it real, but everybody's not really doing that. Not real. When I talk to people, sometimes I'm like, really? Like, you really want to go with that? Really? Right? Like, did you really just say that? Did you think that through? Like, really for you? Or, man, that's really cool. Man, that's really awesome. Good for you. Like, really? That's what's happening in life. The really. Think about it. I'm moving on. Or you make a move. Just say, really? Is this really what I want to do? Is this really what I want to say? Is this really how I want to conduct myself? What you do, what someone does says something about them. What you do says something about you. Take a moment. Really? Do I really want to go here? Do I really want to eat this? Do I really want to get up? Do I really want to stay here and lay down? Do I really want to wear this? Do I really want to conduct myself this way? How do I really want to be seen? How do I really? Really? All right. What do I want to say? What are we? What are we becoming? I didn't do punctuation, but I'll do it. What are we becoming? So when someone says, I want to get rich, I want to get healthy, I want to be rich, I want to be healthy, right? What are we becoming? What are we really seeking to become?
Knowledgeable. Can you hear me, Coach Ducky?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, knowledgeable on the goal. So whatever the goal is, we're open to becoming knowledgeable at how to become that thing.
Okay.
Monique in the chat said our best selves.
Okay.
Free.
Free. Okay. What is knowledge? What does freedom require? What does our best self require? One word. One word.
Desire.
Desire. Okay.
Wisdom.
Okay.
Discipline.
Okay. Well, okay. So,
Love.
Awareness.
oh, awareness.
Oh. Ding, ding.
Awareness. Awareness. Let's use an example. If you all were to take out your phone and you had your phone, you are touching your phone on the outside. But what you're touching on the outside is only activating what?
The inside?
What's on the inside. So what's on the inside exists whether you touch it or not. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right? So then we're not becoming anything. It's already in. What we're doing is when we talk about becoming, we're not trying to become the outcome of the desire. We're trying to become aware that we already are the thing that we're trying to become. It's not the becoming of the attribute or the material good or possession. Rich, wealthy, happy, all those things are already here. I read a book and I have to find it. There was a doctor and he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect of, he used disease as an example. He said, cancer is already within you. The ability to get cancer is already within you. It's already there. But you need something to activate it. Otherwise, it just lies dormant because it's just a possibility. It's not a good or a bad thing. When it's expressed, it feels bad, but it's not a bad thing, meaning it's inevitable, that it's just your fate or destiny. It's not something that just has to happen. It's just like your phone. It's in there, but something has to hit it. Something has to activate it. All of the potential is already there. Everything is already in your body. It's already there. But something has to activate it. Right? So, and usually when you're talking about diseases, dis-ease, you're talking about emotion. An emotion that hits that target, that hits that thing, so it flips the switch and activates this thing that's already there. But if there is no one touching the button, if there's nothing flipping that switch, that thing that's possible is already there, but it won't get activated. Everything that you could ever want to be, do, or have, or could get, be, do, or have is already in you. Everything is already created, and you are already everything you're ever going to be. All of us were born as babies, but we're all different height now. Where did the height come from? Space, Amazon. I mean, they sell everything else. You might get a six-pack of 2 inches or something, right? But everything is already there. When we call that a growth spurt, when there's a growth spurt or when a baby is growing, what then is actually happening? What is actually happening?
They have accelerated the growth process.
How do you do that? How does a baby do that? It didn't go to school. It probably didn't.
It was already in there.
It was already in there. So then how do you activate what's already within?
Oh, I don't know. That's why I'm here.
That's wonderful. Okay, that's wonderful. But good. We're pressing and increasing your knowledge, right? But it's the one word we've already used. What is that word?
Awareness.
Awareness. If a baby didn't go to school, right? It's not like somebody's teaching it how to grow. It's not like you're giving it 2 inches. Hey, honey, put 2 inches into his heel before you go to work, right? There's nothing externally being used to increase something in that sense, right? It's internal. And so those internal inches or feet, let's just say, whatever it may be, is being tapped by your awareness. Your awareness turns on and says, it's time to do this. Whatever it's time to do already exists. That's why it can happen from the inside out. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago, your hair growing to whatever color it is. It's a gene, it's an idea. It's awareness. The ideas all exist within you. the idea of cancer, the idea of wealth, the idea of health, the idea of happiness. Even if you were to say cancer was made in a lab, if it was made in a lab, somebody had to make it. For them to make it, they had to first have what? An idea. And where does an idea come from? The inside. Everything comes from the inside out. Even if it looks like it's expressed outward in, it's always inward out. There is no other way for anything to happen. When we're not actually trying to become the things that we're chasing. What we're trying to do is become aware of the fact that we already are it and we already have it. And when that we become aware of already being it, it's like flipping a light switch. The electricity is already in the wall. We didn't create electricity. We became aware that this thing existed. We didn't create gravity. We became aware of its existence. As a result of our awareness, of our consciousness opening up to the point that now awareness exists in this area, we say, oh, there's this thing. Now, how does it work? We don't change it. We don't create it. What we do is we learn how to work with that we've already created, that already exists. The inches already exist. Your wealth already exists. You already are wealthy. You already are healthy. You already are happy. You already are successful. It's our lack of awareness that doesn't allow it to be expressed. If we were all in the house and all of us had newborns, and we were all sitting there in the dark, who is going to turn the light on? If we all had newborns, all of us, Leslie just had a beautiful granddaughter, right? And we all were sitting there with newborns that were born this week. And we were all sitting in the dark because we were just holding our baby, we were sitting in the dark. And we said, man, you know what? I want to be rich. I want to have some light. Let there be light. Who is going to do that?
We are. We are.
Who's
The
we?
person with the idea.
Okay, but who would have the idea?
The person holding the baby.
And who is that person holding the baby? Who is that person?
Me.
What is that person?
The person that's aware.
Yes, and that person would be an adult generally, right? Because we're holding our baby. The baby wouldn't turn the light on, would they?
Gavin in the chat said us, you.
You. Would the baby turn the light on?
No.
No, they're not aware of how to.
They're not aware of how to. But does that mean there's no electricity?
No.
Does that mean we need to become electricity?
No. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm glad we laugh sometimes, because it lets us know we don't have to become rich any more than we have to become electricity. Our wealth already exists just like the electricity exists, but in the infancy of our mind, we lack the awareness to realize that it already exists. It's already so. Only the adult knows that it's so. Only the mature mind knows to flip that switch. Because otherwise I will remain in the dark, not because their electricity doesn't exist, but because I haven't flipped the switch.
Sarah said everything feels like a trick question.
Oh yeah, that's it. Participation, that's it. Participation and trickery is the name of the game here, right? Because as I've said from the very beginning, we are here to learn how to think. Everyone knows what to think, meaning everyone is given a whole bunch of information. Everybody's telling you what to think all the time, but nobody helps us develop the mechanism of how to think. Doesn't every computer have a processor? Right? How to think, how to take the information in our worlds and filter, this is going to work, this isn't going to work, why it's going to work, why it's not going to work. We're not here just to be told what to do. That's not why any of us are here. We're here to come together and reason and learn how to think. Why does this make sense? Not just believe it and keep pushing. Why does this make sense? right? Why does it make sense? How does it make sense? Because once you understand that, you don't have to believe anymore. You just know. You're not forcing yourself to be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna, no, that's not how this works, because that's not who you really are. And you end up waiting, but you're waiting on you. Right? So the point of saying this to say is that when we're in the dark as an adult, it's just like being a baby. We think we have to become something in order to express it. But it's just our lack of knowledge makes us immature. Our lack of awareness makes us immature. It doesn't alert us to something that we want to become already exists, and we already are it. We just have to become aware. Awareness is like flipping the switch. It's like saying, oh, I'm aware this exists. I flipped the switch. We're now in light. We're now free. We're now the person we want to be. We now are going to express the experience that's already within us. We're just going to express it. It's going to come out of us now. But it's already there. When you have that phone in your hand and you're hitting those numbers, you're hitting something from the outside that's affecting the inside. If that phone is not on, you can tap the buttons all day. Nothing's going to dial. If you hit the wrong buttons, you're not going to dial the right number. If you don't know the number, if you don't know that it's inside, if you don't know what things to hit, you won't do it. So you won't express it. You won't have that physical expression. You won't have it. But it's not because it doesn't exist. It's not because it's not there. It's because we're unaware that it already exists. So we're looking for it somewhere else, or we're not aware that it exists at all. And so we think we don't have it. We think we aren't it. We think we have to become it. You don't have to become healthy. You don't have to become wealthy. You don't have to become rich. You already are those things. But it takes your awareness to flip the switch, to now express, have the physical expression of your mental experience. Your awareness is a mental experience. Once you have the experience, you can express it. Once you've been somewhere, you can describe it. Once you smelled it, you can describe it. Right? Once you have the experience, you can have the expression. You can express it. Everything already exists. All the heavens and the hells, the gods and the devils are within you. Look that up on Google. I don't remember who said it. But everything already exists within you. And what happens is the external world, whether it is our choices or things on the outside, are tapping what's in us to express. So when somebody goes broke, they feel stress. Stress is in there. They just need something to tap it. You go broke, you'll feel stress. If you don't go broke, you won't feel stress, let's just say, in this small example. But you weren't feeling stressed until you went broke. So you weren't feeling it, but it was there. Because if it wasn't there, you couldn't have felt it even if you went broke. No matter how hard I squeeze an apple, orange juice is not coming out. So it doesn't matter how much external pressure is applied to something, whatever's not in that thing can't come out. So if you feel stress, it's because stress is in there. You just may not know it until something externally, so there's a button like on your phone pressing you. And it will activate that which is within you. What they call a Freudian slip, right? Or when it says in the book, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of your subconscious mind, out of your habit mind, those beliefs that are all the way in here, that are in your heart, that are deep down, your subconscious mind, that's what's already in there, that has become like your operating system. Your iOS or your Android, it's a system you're operating by, a collection of functions. And based on that, there's things you can do on an Android that you can't do on an iOS and vice versa, right? They're different operating systems. So saying that to say, because I'm going to make sure we understand, so I'm going to open up for questions, but saying that to say that everything is already within you. So it's not that you're trying to become rich or wealthy or healthy or successful business person or a great mother or a great father. that ability is already in you. But the lack of awareness won't allow that switch to be flipped on, because you keep walking around the house thinking if you walk around, light will come on. No, you have to flip a switch. You have to open the circuit up. You have to open this thing up to get it. It's like somebody giving you a gift for Christmas and you don't open it. How are you gonna, what are you gonna do with it? Just with the box, just look at it, you already have it, but if you don't open it, if you don't flip the switch, the light won't come on. Electricity already exists. Your wealth, your health, your happiness, your success already exists. Your consciousness, your awareness, becoming aware of I am. Now you're saying, okay, I'm turning my awareness to saying I am this. That's flipping the switch. And when you first flip the switch, it's still dark, but the room illuminates. So when you first flip your switch of being the awareness of being healthy, or of having a good relationship, or having good relationships, or having a great business, or having whatever else it is, when you flip that switch, the light will come on. It will start to express in your life if you keep the switch on. But if you're doing this thing, I'm healthy, I'm not, I'm healthy, I'm not, I'm healthy, I'm not, I'm healthy, I'm not. In your house, people look at you like you're insane. They'll be annoyed. They'll say, man, get off the switch. And if it's your child, you really gonna lose it, right? You switch for my switch, right? You start going off, and mom and dad start going off on you. All right. It's like them going into the house. Don't come back in and out of this house. Cause right, close the door when you go out. Shut the porch, right? All the stuff they used to say when we were young, right? Stay out. Stop going in and out. Get what you need and stay out, right? Whatever else it may be. Everything is already within. You flip the switch called your awareness by saying now, I'm not talking about the words, but I'm just using the words as an example. By saying, I am wealthy. I am wealthy. What you're saying is, I'm turning my awareness to that which already exists within me. I'm flipping the switch. And just like a light will illuminate the room, it was dark before that. But it will, just like that darkness in your life, the lack of rich, the lack of wealth, the lack of money, when you flip that switch, now money is going to start to present itself if you flip the switch and keep the switch on. If you keep the identity of that. I'm not saying with the words, I'm saying with the intention. I'm just using the words to illustrate the intention of awareness. I am now this. I am now consciously choosing to be this. Not because I have to become it, like I have to find it or get it. I'm becoming aware that I already am it. I'm just not expressing it because I was unaware. There's light in the room, but the baby's not going to turn it on. Only the adult is. Only the person that has the awareness that this thing called electricity already exists. Not that I have to, you know what, it's dark. Who knows how to make electricity? Right? I'm broke. Who knows how to make money? Yeah, it's counterfeit. That's cap. You're going to jail. Some point. You're going to be on the run forever. Right?
Janelle put in the chat, you step into a different level of consciousness when you become aware.
That is correct. And your physical world is an expression of your internal consciousness. Your physical world is an expression of your internal consciousness. The physical world is an expression of the collection of all of our internal consciousnesses called humanity. But you as an individual, you as Sparkle Bailey, you as Gavin, you as Leslie, you as Monique, you as Latoya, you as all of us here, your world is an expression of your internal consciousness. So you are sitting in the dark downstairs, but your significant other may be reading upstairs with the light on. Your darkness and their light have nothing to do with each other, but they can't coexist. That's why you're in separate places. They don't want the light on. They're maybe trying to take a nap. You want to read. Right? Absolutely. Okay. I'll stop it at that. Open it up for questions or comments, anything. Want to make sure people understood that.
Okay, I have a question. Or I guess I need to, my hippocampus is trying to trick me, and please bear with me. I just learned that yesterday. So I'm using it in a
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I have access to the unlimited ATM, and I cannot find my ATM card. So if I keep going in the direction of the ATM, at some point, the light is going to come on, and I'm going to say, oh, there's my card, and pick it up and gain the access.
Is that that's what you're asking me?
That's what I'm asking, because
Oh.
I want to put the puzzle pieces together that's floating around in my head.
Okay. When we lose something physically, what is that a reflection of?
Hmm.
When we notice the key word I said, physically. When we lose something physically, right? Because if we look at the order of operations, right? What comes first, the idea or the thing?
The idea.
Okay, so the thing is physical, right? The thing is a physical reflection, right? Thing, idea. Idea you can't see, it's invisible. Invisible. The thing is visible. The invisible always creates the visible. So if you have lost a thing visibly, in this case, your card, what happened?
You forgot.
So you forgot. What is another way to say that?
Lack of awareness.
You lost, you became detached from conscious awareness of where this thing is. You lost conscious awareness of it. There's nothing lost. You just can't find it. But it is where it is. It is somewhere. You just in this part of your mind, in this level of consciousness, don't know where that is. So just like becoming healthy or wealthy, just like somebody said, you step into a different level of consciousness when you become aware. So what we have to do now is reattach our consciousness to the possession, being the person who has their card. Man, I'm so happy and grateful I have my ATM card. Oh, I'm so glad I found this thing. I don't know what to do, right? Or like, what would you be doing if you had your card? What would you be doing? How would you feel? What would you say? What you're doing is you're reattaching your consciousness as the person who has it. Right now, you're experiencing the consciousness of someone who doesn't. But our consciousness is the creator of ideas. Ideas are the creator of things. If we lose a thing, we lost the idea. If we lost the idea, it's because we really lost the conscious awareness of it. We lost the consciousness of being the person who has it.
I
Nothing is
got
ever.
it.
That make sense?
I got it. I got it. I have my ATM card, which internalizes the confidence, the awareness, the act as if. That's it. I have my
Yes.
card. That's
Yes.
it.
Because, and I'll say it to you this way, when people say act as if, do you know what Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, Elon Musk, what do people call these three people?
I don't know,
Geniuses?
inventors. Yeah.
Geniuses? Huh?
Inventor.
Inventors.
Mhm.
Do you know what inventors are doing? Just what you said. They act as if. They act as if. Meaning they have an idea in their mind, which is an act, about the thing, the if. And they say, if I can have the idea, I can have the if. If I can act, if I can believe and assume that it's so, I can create whatever I can believe and assume.
Wow.
But this word inventor, as we talked about, right? Latin word. Invenio. It means to stumble upon. It doesn't mean to create. It doesn't mean to create. It means to stumble upon. Because you stumble upon it because it already exists. The darkness of your mind makes you think it's invisible. It's not there. Whether it's your ATM card, whether it's your health, whether it's your relationships, the darkness of our mind makes us think it's not there. But all these inventors, all they did was become aware. The light was flipped on. The switch was hit. They flipped the switch. And people call them inventors. All they did was flip the switch so that they stumbled upon something that already exists.
Wow. That was amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question. Right? Like we have to, let me say this. I want us to learn how we were talking about this earlier before 7 o'clock as well, talking about relationships, right? And we're saying, okay, I want to be happily, I want to be married, or I want to be this or that. Okay, you want to be married. Talk about it like it's already happened. I have a wonderful husband. I have a wonderful wife, right? You can wife or husband, have whatever you want to say, but I have a wonderful person. Man, they always bring me flowers. They always make sure there's gas in my car is washed, or they always compliment me. They always tell me I'm so handsome, or I'm always so beautiful. I'm so beautiful. Man, they're such a great listener to me. I'm always, they always make me breakfast in bed every Sunday. Or you talk about your relationship as you desire it to be, but you talk about it in the present to yourself. If somebody asks you, are you married? No, you're not going to tell them that. No, I'm not. No, not right now. It's not for them. Your vision is for you. As long as you have the vision within you, it doesn't matter what anyone else says, thinks, feels. You're not talking to them. There was a guy, I was reading a book, and this guy had company over. I think he was a pastor, but he had company over. So they were all sitting around the dinner table, and somebody said, hey, can you say the blessing, the grace over the food? So he closed his eyes, and then about 15 seconds later, he opened his eyes and said, okay, let's eat. And the people said, well, you didn't say anything. Do you know what he said? Anybody guess what he said? Who can guess what he said?
He said, y'all didn't hear me.
Okay. Who else? Who can guess what he said?
Just because you didn't hear it doesn't mean I didn't say it.
Okay. One more.
It was for me, not you.
Yeah, I wasn't talking to you. That's what he told him. I wasn't talking to you. He closed his eyes, said what he had to say, but I wasn't talking to you. My point, what his point was, and my point is that whatever vision you have inside of yourself is for you. It's not for everyone else to agree with, disagree with, like, and everything else. We take our desires and dreams and we sell them out to the world. So we have a baby, then we go out in the hall and ask who wants to name it. Has had a baby. What do you guys think? What do you think his name should be? What do you think her name should be? What do you think his name should be? Would anybody do that? So we wouldn't do it with our baby, but why are we doing anything with our dream? Why are you doing it with your desire? Why are you worried about what everyone says, what everyone thinks about? You let everyone name it. Oh, you can't do that. Well, you have to be at work all day, right? Well, if you do that, you can't have a family, right? Well, if you do that, there's a recession, right? Well, if you do that, it doesn't really sell good at this time of the year, right? Well, you know what? Well, shit, why don't you just give it to them then? Hell, if you did everything they said, it wouldn't be yours anyway. And if you're gonna let them name it, why don't you let them keep it? It's yours to name because it's you birthed it. Right? But
Sarah said when parents tell you what you should go to school for.
yes.
Right.
Yeah. Most of us on here are parents. We give our kids the best advice we have. Abraham Lincoln's dad gave him the best advice he had. It doesn't mean it's good advice, but it's the best, it's all he had to offer. He was a runaway slave. He was semi-literate. He was poor from Kentucky, poor, dirt poor. And he ran away from being a slave himself. And so the only way he made it was by having a trade. That's why he wanted his son to have a trade. That's why he said, he didn't have any respect for education. He wanted to get his son to get his head out of the clouds. But of course he wants to set his son's head out of the clouds. He doesn't know what the clouds hold. He's never been there himself. So just because our parents and us as parents tell our kids things, it doesn't mean that we're always right or that we know everything. And our intentions could always be right and we could always mean to know everything, but we haven't been a parent our whole life. Parents didn't come with no manual, parents didn't come with no accreditation, certification, degree. No, we out here winging it. We out here the best we can, and we mean well, but we don't know everything. Right? So yeah, we try to tell our kids to do this or be that or whatever else it may be. But saying all that to say, this is your dream in your life. If you don't take hold of it and control of it, somebody else will do that for you. And 99.9% of the time, it's not going to be in your best interest or for your highest good. It's not going to make you all that you can be because someone else can't do that because they're not you. They don't know all the dreams you hold, just like you don't know all the thoughts they have. Our parents are designed to get us here to a certain point. And then after that, guess what? We got to take the wheel. Our parents drove us around, and who here couldn't wait till they were 16? I don't know if it's the same in every state, but in California, it was 16. I was licking my lips, rubbing my hands. I was up all night like it was prom, waiting to go to the driver's test that I failed within 3 blocks. The first time. I failed it so bad, I said, man, why did you tell me? He said, man, because it looked like you needed to practice. I failed it in 3 blocks. He's like, oh yeah, you failed 15 minutes ago. I was like, we've only been out here for about 16. He's like, oh yeah, you failed in the first 3 minutes. So it's right. But I say about to say, like, we wait till we're 16 till we can get that driver's license, till we can start having more freedom. We wait until they're 21 to have more freedom. We wait because that's who we really are. Right? And our parents are entrusted to keep us on the straight and narrow until we can keep ourselves on the straight and narrow. But it doesn't mean they know everything. It doesn't mean that. Only we, the inside of us, knows everything. Only God signed up to be our salvation, so to speak. Only our I amness, our awareness, our consciousness is our salvation. It's not our parents, brothers, sisters, father, the president, Republicans, Democrats. It's not your college. It's not your trust fund. It's not your neighborhood. It's not your husband. It's not your wife. There's only one God. That's it. And that God is in you as you, operating through your consciousness, as your consciousness, through your mind. So if you don't have your mind right internally, it doesn't matter what's happening externally. It's going to break down. It's going to break down. Okay. So, all right. So, make sense? All right. Anybody have anything else?
Coach, I just want to share real quick, just before you move on, when you put it in the perspective of relationships, I said in the chat, that is exactly how I attracted my husband. I just pretended I was married. I bought him a toothbrush. I cleaned out a drawer for him. I made space. I drew a picture and I hung it over my mirror and I talked to that picture every morning as though he were already there. So it makes all the sense. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And that's what everyone should do their way. Whether it's about a spouse, whether it's about your health, whether it's about your money, whether it's about your business, talk to it like it's already so. When you have kids, don't you tell them they're the most brilliant thing in the world? Based on what? They're the most handsome, beautiful thing in the world? Based on what? Okay, well, you know what? We tell the truth here, but we're not gonna do it. Have you ever seen some kids and you like, they're like, oh, isn't he or she so handsome or beautiful? And you like, Mom said, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Right? You think to yourself,
all babies are cute.
why is his head so big? Like, I sure hope people say you get in the car with your husband or your wife or something, you're like, well, I sure hope you go into that head. Good. And your wife be like, hit your arm like, oh boy, don't say that, right? Boy, you got some ears on it, don't it? Right? Or whatever, right? But we talk to those people because all we see is potential. All we see is all they can be, right? You're talking to them now like it's already so. They haven't even got a report card yet. They can't ride a bike. They can't, but you're talking to them like that in El Presidente, right? You're talking to them like it's already so. And whatever that does for you, some people, like she just said, you hang pictures up and you put a toothbrush, whatever works for you. Some people just talk to them when you're in the car to yourself. Talk to her when you're car. Some people, it doesn't matter whether it's a person or your health, the principle is the same. It's the ability to assume you are now that which you want to be. Whatever you desire, whatever, husband, family, money, health, success, peace, whatever it is, whatever you desire, when you pray, when you decide, when you choose, believe that you have now, that's present, received it. right? Have, like you have it now, or you have, it's like present past. It's already so. Believe you have received it, and you will. Turn a light on, and it will illuminate. But you have to do one first to see the other. You cannot be reticent or indigent or just lazy. You can't be these things and think something's got to happen. Flip the switch. I am this thing. When I first say it, my reason will deny it, my senses will deny it, everyone I ask will deny it, every external thing will tell me not only is it not true now, but then it will take it a step further and say, because it's not true, it can't ever be. Then how do we get Abraham Lincoln? If it's not true right then when you said it, how do you ever get it? He said, self-definition, I was a slave. It was his self-definition. I was a slave. Just like he said, I'm 6'4", lean and tall and thin, about 190 pounds, black coarse hair, dark brown eyes, and dark skin. That's a self-definition, just like slave. He said he was a slave. That now he was the president. So what we know him as wasn't what he always was. What you are now isn't what you have to remain as. I'm not saying it's bad. If you like it, keep it. Do more of the same. Reheat it. Like Thanksgiving dinner for 2 days. Reheat it. Right? But if you want something different, be like, Mom, look, it's Sunday. I'm not about to eat that turkey. Oh, it's so good. You put some, Mom, I'm not about to eat enough gravy to put on that thing. That bird and died 3 days ago officially, and probably 2 weeks before that unofficially, and there's not enough gravy for that. I think I'm hearing voices from it. I'm not doing it, right? Cook something new. Whatever you are now does not mean you can't be. It's just what you are now. But if you want to be something different, that's why we talked about the prodigal son last week. You can be something different. You can change. Your father, your consciousness will run back to you and say, put the robe on, put the staff on, keep the party going, strike up the band. But there's that other part of you can't let it go. Well, remember what I used to do. Remember what I used to say. Yeah, I'm a recovering this and I'm a recovering that. Nobody's a recovering. I fell off my bike. I'm still recovering. Nobody's recovering bike faller offer. You're not recovering. You either are something or you're not. And if you're unwilling to be something else, you won't be. If you want to be a recovering alcoholic your whole life, you'll be recovering your whole life. Or you can just be, I'm now this and I'm no longer that. I don't have to be recovering from anything. I'm whole in this state. I'm whole here in this state. Or I can stay in the state of recovery. Or I can just be in the state of whole. This is what I am now. Just because I used to be doesn't mean I have to remain. You don't have to remain a slave. You can be the president. Everybody don't have to be happy for you. His dad, who was renting him out, wasn't happy for him. It didn't stop him from becoming the president or being a lawyer or a bartender or an exceptional wrestler. His dad didn't cheerlead him, sure, didn't sign him up for wrestling, didn't help him open a bar. His barmate, they actually lost the business because his barmate was alcoholic and drunk up all the liquor. Right? But he was a licensed bartender. You would never know these things. You would never know all the things he was. We only know what he decided to become in his mind, his awareness. Right? So we can feel a slave to our health, a slave to money, a slave to relate. We can feel that. We may very well be, truly, as far as like we're experiencing that. But that's not the truth, meaning we can change it. That means it's not the truth. It's just truly happening. It's true. It's happening. But it's not the truth. We don't have to stay that way. But our awareness, until we're willing to flip that switch, we're going to sit in the dark. And the baby won't flip the switch. The immature mind won't flip the switch. Only the mature mind will do that. That's what we come here, is to mature in our mind, to awaken, right? To expand our consciousness so that we can change our mind and realize that is where all change starts and ends. All right. Anything anybody else wants to say before we move forward? Any questions? Anything else? Talk about your business. Talk about your whatever you want to be, talk about it. I'm happily and blissfully married. My husband is this, or my wife is this. I have a marvelous, successful business, doing what I love to do. Everything, right? All my clients are not just made in heaven. They love to pay me what I want. They love to refer others to do the same. They love what I have to offer. They're as thick as the ocean, coming to me like the tide. right? I have infinite clients. I can't run out, just like I can't drink all the ocean water. And they come to me like the tide. This is why I say to myself, I've gotten probably 7 or 8 new clients in the last, no, I've gotten probably close to 9 or 10 in the last 2 weeks. And Ronnie will tell you, I don't go on social media, nothing.
No.
I ain't
that's me.
advertising nothing. I ain't
It's
doing
social
nothing.
media.
I ain't looking for nothing. I ain't asking nobody for nothing. I am literally decorating my consciousness like my house. This is the way I want it to be for me. That just ain't my thing. I've never had my own social media. I've never had my own. That just ain't my thing. I'm not against it. Just like the lady said, she decorated and did the thing with the picture and that was the way that she set her mind. That was the way that she put herself in the consciousness of being. You find the best way to put yourself in the consciousness of being that which you are, what you desire to be. I have a great business. I have a marvelous, successful business doing what I love to do every day. I can't run out of clients. I can't lose. All I can do is win.
Janelle is asking, did you say decorating your consciousness like a house?
Yes. Yes. I only put in the best stuff because I gotta live there. I gotta sit there. I gotta lie there. I don't want to be lying on. I mean, we all know that. Remember them plastic couches? Yeah, I mean the couches with the plastic on it.
Right.
Yeah, when you burn your leg, cut your leg, get stuck to it. Yeah, I just ate my time. I'm going to get some different couches, right? I decorate my house what's best for me. You decorate your house what's best for you. Decorate your consciousness with the good that you want. Whether it's your business, your health, your relationships, you do whatever that takes for you. Everybody's different, right?
So you gotta post that.
Post what?
What you just said.
Oh man, it's just coming out. It's just, I don't even know what I said 5
It's
minutes.
freestyle.
That's it, right? But does that make sense, right? That's what I want us to understand. You do whatever it takes to put yourself in that mind. Put yourself in the mood. Get yourself in the mood of your success. Just like you get yourself in the mood before a date, during a date, after a date. Just like you get yourself in the mood to do, well, based on what you're doing is creating a mood. Most people's mood is bad on Monday because they're doing something they don't want to do on Monday. Most people are in a better mood on the weekends because they're doing more of what they want to do. Your mood is nothing but an internal reflection of your external experience, what you feel like you're experiencing. And the more you experience it, the more it creates a mood. Right? So turn yourself on, get yourself in the mood by talking your talk, by talking to yourself about your business or your whatever else it is, like it's now. Not it's going to be, not I will be. And I don't mean just the words, I'm talking about the intent. No, I'm happily and blissfully married now. No, I have a marvelous, successful business now. My business is easy. I have plenty of clients and they all love me. They love to pay me. I ain't got to chase nobody, find nobody. They all remember to pay me. They can't wait to pay me. They pay me up front. These are things I say to myself. People chase, I had 2 people chase me down in Safeway. Hey, aren't you that? I'm like, yeah. Oh, I've seen you. And yeah, but that's just a reflection of my consciousness. Right? And so all you have to do is change your consciousness and you'll change your experience because that's the creation of your experience. Yes, Sparkle Bailey, I see your hand.
Okay, listen, I just want to say, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. I just want to say, what you're saying, I agree with everything you're saying, Coach Lucky. And I'm looking at Monique in the chat and I'm looking at Latoya in the chat. And I know that Latoya bought some journals recently and we were having this exact conversation this week. And so I just want to give everybody a heads up. It's not like a warning, but just more like a heads up. When you go into this space, be prepared for receiving it. So like, I'm very careful with what I manifest because I always get what I manifest. So if you ladies are looking for love, be aware that when you put things out there, like what Coach Monique was saying and what Latoya was saying in the chat, be aware of the floodgates. Coach Lucky is using very specific words. So, if you want a flood of clients, you're going to get a flood of clients. If you want a flood of suitors, potential, quality suitors, that's what's going to happen. Like he said at the beginning, really, like, is that what you really want? Think about it. Because once you deal with it, it's good. I'm over here, my chest is beating real fast. And I'm reminding myself, this is why you're not putting yourself out there, because you get what you're looking for, love, and you ain't really trying to have all that attention right now. So just stay in your cute little lane, because they ain't going nowhere. Who is for you is going to be there. girl, get you together. So I just wanted to share that. I love y'all. I love the space. Thank you, Coach Lucky.
You're welcome, and you're right. You're welcome, and you're right. That's what we're doing here is conscious manifesting, meaning conscious choosing, like an adult at a grocery store, instead of a 4-year-old running around touching on cereal. You know, you go in with your kid, your nephew, you're like, look, when you're driving up, you start pulling up, you start getting tense, and you turn around, look. Now, when we go in here, right? Don't touch nothing, don't ask me for nothing, whatever you say, right? But you want to make sure that they are paying attention, right? Same thing. You want to make sure that you are choosing. That's what, yes, yeah, that you're manifesting, meaning you are choosing what you want in your physical experience consciously. You are purposely, maturely picking what you want because you are going to get what you ask for. It's a law. It's not optional. It's not personal. It's a law. Right? So just like 2 + 2 is 4, just like electricity, like gravity, it's a law. The laws of mind are just as certain as math, as science, and anything else that are laws, right? Okay, yes.
Jenna.
Yes.
Just to piggyback off of what Sparkle said, even when asking for things or declaring things within your business, it's very important to be prepared for what you're saying you want to come to you, because you can't say, I'm receiving all the clients that I need, all the clients that I desire, but you don't have your systems in place. You don't have your protocols in place. You don't have certain things in place to onboard or offboard them when that time comes. You got to make sure whatever it is that you are requesting, whatever it is that you're declaring, that it's well-rounded and very specific, like she said, because you can have an influx of clients, but if you don't know what to do with them, then what? You're not going to make the money that you thought, you're not going to reap the harvest that you thought you were going to reap because you weren't prepared for it.
Absolutely. And to your point, like I said, when I decorate my consciousness like I would a house, you decorate your consciousness like a house, you decorate your business like with your consciousness, meaning it's like, okay, this is the type of business I have, this is how it's going, I have all my affairs in order, I know what I need to know, I know everything I need to know what to do about it, I have all my ducks in a row. Like, what type of business person am I? How does my business go? How do I operate as a business owner? Like, I always have my certifications in line, or my place is always clean, or I always have all my systems in order, right? Whether that's on a computer or whether that's the way you go about your business, you establish the consciousness of the person who's doing what you want to be done, that is successful the way you want, that does things the way you want. You establish that idea, that consciousness in your mind, and it will express itself. So you do that with all the things of your business, with the overarching feeling of your business. What type of business do you have? How is it going? How do you feel about it? How do you enjoy it? Right? And all these different things. You decorate all of your house, the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, you decorate all of it. Right? As much as you can, specifically, as much as you can, right? Stuff like that. Right? Right? So I keep thinking Bailey is your last name. That's why. Okay. So, right?
So I had said by getting yourself ready, you're aligning yourself with that reality.
Because everything already exists. So you're not creating a business that doesn't exist. You're not creating an experience that doesn't exist. What you're doing is you're lining yourself up with what already exists, with your conscious mind. You're saying, okay, this is what I'm choosing. You're going down the aisles with the products already on it. You are going to the store with the products already in it. Right? So, but you're only going to buy and you're only going to experience that which you're aware of. So you don't have to create anything. All you're doing in your conscious mind is saying, okay, this is the type of business I want. This is how I want it to go. This is who I am as a business owner, just like this is who I am as a shopper.
Oh,
right?
It was for someone else. Okay, you didn't say it.
Oh, right? Stuff like that, right? So all those things, right? So that's what I want us to understand. Everything that you could ever want already exists. How many clients you want, what type of clients you want, what type of business you want, how your business goes, how you're going, having all your ducks in a row, having all your affairs in order, all of your taxes paid properly. Like, everything that you could ever think of already exists. All you have to do is turn your attention to it. But you can turn your attention to it specifically line by line, or you can have an overarching thing where my business just goes well. All my ducks in a row, everything is good. I'm happy, I love it. Everything is always working out marvelously for me in every way. It's not the words that justify you, it's your intention. You know what you mean when you say that. Because there's things that you know now that you don't know that you won't, that 6 months from now that you don't know today, consciously. But your intention is to always be on point and always on par. So you set the intention of always being on point and on par, of all your affairs always going properly, always going well, you having a wonderful business, or you having great health, or you being successful, or you having wealth or prosperity or great relationships. You just set the overarching intention of everything being the way you want it to be. And then when you have specifics, you throw those in too. But you know intentionally the outcome you want to be is that. All right. That good? We good? Everyone?
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. This one is called this next little chapter. I just make up names. 78 degrees. If you were to talk to someone on the phone every day, not literally every day, but consistently every day for about, let's just say, a year. And every day you spoke to them, they talked about the weather. They talked about the weather. It's hot, it's cold. Oh, you talk to them in March, it's this. You talk to them in June, it's this. Or it's always this, or it's never that, right? How long would it take for you, if they describe the weather every day, how long would it take for you to narrow down where they could possibly be living? Whether it's in America or whether it's below the equator, above the equator, whatever else it may be. How long do you think it would take for you to be able to narrow down to completely eliminate certain things? And then say, okay, based on what they're saying, based on their description of their environment every day, I can narrow down they're either in this part of the country or above the equator, or they're maybe in the Caribbean, because it's never 20 degrees. So how long do we think that would take?
Leslie said 10 days.
10 days, okay? Who else? We need at least 3 people, but just guess. It could be 10 people guessing, but how long? There's no right or wrong answer really, but think about it, how long?
It would
10
take me
days, 2
close
weeks.
to a year. It would take me close to a year, because if we're not, you said the question was, we're not knowing where they are in the world or in the country. So we would have to study the seasons. We can't just go based off of one season. So it would take me a year at least, right?
Okay. Okay.
Michelle put 2 weeks. Monique said not very long, a month or 2.
Okay.
I would say probably more so like if we go from like a summer to spring or a spring to fall, then I could tell. It depends when also, because a lot of times like summer to spring might not be that different. Depends, yeah.
Okay. And once you figured out where they were, when they do anything after that point, when they wear anything after that point, when they're doing what they wear or certain activities or things, once you figure out where they are, what they wear or their activities after that point, does it surprise you after that? Okay, no.
No.
Okay. Generally, no. Why not?
Because you're aware of the environment they live in.
Okay. Because we're aware of the environment they live in.
Michelle put in the chat, it's expected.
It's expected.
Monique put only if they wear a coat in the summer.
And if they wear a coat in the summer, you would think and know they are probably
in Alaska or something.
they're either in Alaska or they're crazy. Right? You'd be like, okay, something's not really good. Right? Okay. So then, if it's expected, if somebody says no, somebody says it's expected, we're not surprised, or whatever else it is, then what we're saying then is, if we know where a person is, if we know where If we know where they are, then we know where they're coming from. If we know where they're coming from, then we have an understanding of what they're doing. We understand it's expected. What they do is expected. No, we're not surprised. And at most, it took, somebody said a year. At most, some people said 10 days. So then why are you, then if it's expected and the answer is no, I'd be setting you guys up. And the answer is no, why are you upset about the people in your life doing what they do? Why are you acting like you're surprised?
Monique said it was a setup.
Why are you sitting here and letting the words come out of your mouth? I can't believe. Why are we sitting there saying, how could you do that? Why, if we have to be able to separate, look, I don't have to like it. I don't have to love it. I don't have to agree or disagree. But the one thing I do have to do is what?
Accept it.
Can you repeat that?
I don't have to like it.
No, Sparkle Bailey.
I don't have to, sorry,
Accept it.
it's no. You have to know it.
No, it was Michelle.
You have to know. You don't gotta accept nothing. Once you know it, I know that you lied. I don't accept that. But I know you did it. So now, as a result of you doing that, I'm going to do this, whatever that may be. I don't have to accept it, but I have to know it. The reason why we can't accept, the reason why we have a hard time even handling things properly is because either we don't know or we act like we don't know. When you know what somebody is, when somebody's describing their environment to you, the 78 degrees, when you're talking on the phone to somebody, they're describing to you their environment. And it's largely not physical, it's mental. They're describing to you what's going on in their mind by what they talk about, how often they talk about it, what they talk about most, what they talk about first, what they never talk about, what they can't let go, right? You start, how long does it take to figure out where they live? What state of mind they are in? Just like a state in America or a city or a country on the planet, you start to be able to narrow down where a person is in their mind, just like you do in their body. 10 days, 2 weeks, we said a year at most. What is taking so long for you to know where a person is coming from, know where they are, know where they're coming from, so that you aren't surprised, it's not unexpected, and you know how to handle yourself accordingly. And not be upset, not be all thrown out, because you know how to deal with them because of where they are, where they're coming from. So you're not surprised about what they said, what they do, until they move, or unless they move. When you are listening to someone, they're telling you their mental location, their state of mind. Just like the state where you physically live, your state of mind is the same thing. There's a state that your mind is in, just like there's a state or a place that your body is in. And once you know where a person lives, like I know Leslie lives in Florida, I know Giovanni lives in Texas. So in August, if they wear a turtleneck, I'm gonna call some kind of social services. I'm gonna call some kind of helpline or something, because it's not good. Something is happening, right? I know that. If I call my brother who's in Philadelphia and it's in January and he's out there walking around with no shirt on, I'm gonna call the same people because something is happening.
Sierra said they might be sick now.
Yeah. And I'm gonna call. You might have to tell the people who knock on your door, I'm just under the weather because somebody's gonna be knocking. I'm calling them. Active services. Right? So I'm just saying, once I know where you are, I know where you're coming from. Then I understand why you do what you do, say what you say, think what you think. I'm not judging that you live in Florida, but I know it. I'm not judging that you live in Texas, but I know it. I'm not judging that you live here or there. It's not a judgment or criticism. I don't have to like it or dislike it, agree or disagree, but I have to know it. You have to know who people are. You don't have to stop getting all emotional all the time and blowing your cap and blowing your stack all the time. Because number one, if you don't know how to keep your cool, sometimes you'll never really get to know what people are thinking or what they're saying. You'll never really get to know enough of what you need to know to figure out how you need to move. You can't just be off your frame all the time, right? You have to learn, who is this person? What is this person? Not a judgment or criticism. I don't have to like them or dislike them, but I got to know them. And if I don't know them, I can't even appropriately like them or dislike them. I don't have enough information to make a true assessment. So I'm so happy with what they told me, I don't know that they steal. I'm so unhappy with what they told me, I don't know that they actually are the best job reference. You have to figure, who is a person? Where are they coming from? What are they, when you look at, and it takes you a year or 2 weeks or 10 days, then apply that and say, okay, what is this person's mental environment? What are their conceptions of themselves, of the world, of life? They're telling you where they live. And once you know that, you'll know where they're coming from. It'll give you a better understanding of who they are. Now, you don't have to like that. It ain't your place or your business most of the time. You can't change it or fix it. You have to understand, okay, in the sense of, okay, this is where they are. Now, I could want something different for them. I could try to see them differently in my mind. You can do that. But that's not your responsibility necessarily. And if they don't want to be different, you can't do anything about that. That's their right to be there. People have the right to be them. The right to be right, the right to be wrong, and the right to be themselves. Get over it. But know it. You don't have to, that'll stop you from being mean all the time, being mad all the time, being upset, being all worked up, having your blood pressure go up, having your pressure up, right? That'll stop you from having to blow your stack and blow your top and giving people a piece of your mind all the time and just raging everywhere all the time. We have to become more focused. We have to become more aware, more astute, be more disciplined in our mind, to be more observant, not judgmental or critical, but observant, right? Observant about our world, about the people in our world. So we know, okay, I need to borrow $5. This person's not gonna have it. It doesn't matter whether you think they should or shouldn't. You know them, you know they don't. This person has, I go here. Why am I gonna sit here and argue with the person I know doesn't have the $5? And if I know they don't have it, why am I arguing? And if I know them and enough to ask them, then why don't I know they don't have it? Like, why don't I know them well enough to know that they don't have it? If nothing catastrophic happened, right? So just knowing your environment, knowing who's in it and what your environment is comprised of will allow you to have a better understanding of how to work with the things in it. Whether it's a person, whether it's electricity, whether it's water, whether it's gas, whether it's knowing what's around you and how to work with it. You won't have to be so off base and off kilter all the time, right? You won't be just so emotionally led, emotionally driven, just into the water, off the cliff. Right? So this is a little bit of a shorter one, but it's something that I think is important. We have to understand who we're talking to in life. Not be so quick to judge and criticize, but be quick to observe and pay attention. Doesn't mean people can't change, but until they are, they are. Right? And you deal with people as they are. Until they change, fine. You give room for people to change, you change. We're all changing in certain degrees, but we're not all changing at the same time, same degree, right? So we have to deal with people as they are, but you can't deal with anything or anyone without knowing what it is, where it's coming from, how it's operating, how it operates. And therefore we have to be more observant in our world about the people, the places, and the things in it, so that we can understand how to maneuver ourselves. And it's our charge to keep ourselves safe. It's our charge. That's us. That's our responsibility. Stop putting your responsibility on everyone else. To be safe, to be happy, to be healthy, to be prosperous, to be successful. That's you. That's your job. That's your job. Right? People should stop at green lights. At red lights. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just blow it. Sometimes they're texting. Sometimes they don't see it. Sometimes they think they can make it. It's your job to pay attention when you're crossing the street. Because yeah, it can be their fault if they hit you, but you still hurt. It don't have to be your fault to hurt. It hurts. Right? So if it's your life and it affects you, it's up to you. You need to be the most perspicacious, aware, paying attention to detail person in the world. over your stuff. But most people are like that over other people's stuff. Did you hear about so-and-so? Yeah, girl, I told you. Yeah, I told you. So I knew he wasn't. Yeah, but I told you. Yeah, because anytime you drive a Cadillac, they ain't no good. I told you. Right? Or, you know, we all in everybody else's business. Right? Everybody else's thing. We're not paying no attention. Yes. You know when it starts with that, you know it's all
When
bad.
it starts with girl.
Or I call him my brother. There's never nothing good after that. Bro. Like, dude. You're like, oh man. Right? It's just all it takes is one word, you already know where it's going. Right? If we pay more attention to our own life and our own self, then we can maneuver around other people who aren't. And we're not so caught up, so beat up, so worried about what everyone else is doing. But a lot of times we do that because we're not in control of our own selves, so therefore we feel we have to control other people. Well, if I can just get him to do this or just get him to do that, why don't you get you to do this? Or why don't you get you to do that? Why don't you do what you're supposed to be doing on a consistent basis? And you'll see that it will end well for you. Because it will either move you up, out, move them up, out, but when it's 100 degrees, everybody responds. Everybody got to do something. Somebody gonna enjoy it, some people gonna run from it, some people put suntan lotion on, some people go inside, some people start tanning, but everybody reacts. You turn up the heat of your consciousness and everyone around will respond. Right? Like truly do you. Mind your business. Focus on yourself. There's no one to change but you. Stop trying to change everything and everyone outside of you. Change you. Choose you. Focus on you. And your world will reflect that. The choice, the change, or the constancy. But we're spending too much of our time worried about what everyone else is doing and ain't nobody on your TMZ. So if you're not getting paid for it, stop taking up third and fourth shifts in everybody else's business. You got your own shift. Work your shift. Work your life. All right. Everybody understand that? Any questions on that?
Girl.
Did I upset and offend enough people?
I'll even start with a gossip to Coach like that. Girl, let me tell you.
Like what?
I'm just glad.
All right. Everybody get that? When you're talking to someone that is telling you where they are, listen, pay attention. Right? And you'll have a better understanding of where they're coming from. And then you'll learn how to most effectively and efficiently deal with someone. You don't have to like them or love them, to hate them or anything, but you have to know them. You have to know them. That's good. That's for you. It's not about them or for them, but it's for you. Okay. You know what? Since I didn't got everybody riled up, I'm gonna go to this one.
Uh-oh.
End us off on a hot spicy. And everybody see that. Special. I did spell it right, because sometimes.
Yes, you did. Don't worry.
You know, sometimes like, oh, sometimes I'm like, well, man. Yeah. All right.
I blame the English language.
Here we go. I'm gonna write this real slow so you can get it. Everybody see that?
A subtle insult.
Right? I'm gonna write this real slow. Yeah, it was almost like a double entendre. I'm gonna write this real slow. First one is you. You. Or, so special. You, or, your problems. You are going to have to decide which one of these are special. You're either going to decide you are special or your problems are special. Now, I'm gonna give you the cheat sheet. I'm gonna give you the answer in the end. Your problems are not special. You are not the only one whose back hurt, feet hurt, head hurt, lost this, can't find this, don't know what this, he did this, she did that, I can't believe this. Oh my God, you're not gonna believe what happened to me. Oh, this, oh, that. I'm gonna give you the answer because it's rhetorical and I don't got no time to keep playing to everybody. Today, I'm not gonna do it. Your problems are not special. Get over it, get over them, get over yourself. Your problems are not special. You're not the only one in history, past, present, or future with some kind of this or some kind of that, the most cataclysmic, just the most ridiculous thing ever to happen. You are not the only one it's happened to, not the only one it will happen to, not the only person it's currently happening to. You could find somebody around the world who you could start a business with over your problem. Your problems are not special. Get over it and yourself. They're not. Not the only one in the world with whatever you think you have or whatever's going on. So stop focusing on it. Stop fixating on it. Stop whining about it and crying about it. Right? And let's do something about it. And how do we first start doing that? By realizing the only thing special on this board is you. You are actually special. You didn't fail the test. You failed. All of you got it.
No.
All of you.
Sierra said it in the chat.
I don't care. Everybody's getting
Official,
it.
not my problem.
Everybody's getting it. Everyone. Everyone's getting it because I'm upset. Right? You are special. You are special. There is no one like you. There will never be anyone else like you. Past, present, future, whatever you could ever be. There will never be another person like you. You are special. You literally are special. You are one of one, and that sounds so nice. It sounds so cute. It sounds so uplifting and inspiring and motivating. But no matter how you feel about it, it's the truth. 2 + 2 is 4. It's the truth. It don't matter how you feel about it. Now, it's better if you feel good about it and you know it. Your life will be better. But if you don't, it still is the truth. You'll just suffer if you don't know, suffer if you don't believe it. But it won't stop it from being true. The truth, it'll stop it from being true for you, which means you're now living a lie, which means you'll be a slave. Only the truth sets you free, and only freedom is governed by truth. That's it. You are special. Your problems are not. You're going to have to decide which one of those you are going to fixate on, believe in, live from, live out of, live with, and align yourself with. You are special, not your problems. You are special. You're not the only person with that problem, but you're the only you. You're not the only person that happened to, but you're the only person like you that will ever happen. You are the only you that will ever be. You are actually literally special. So then when I say, really, does you being special act like that? Does you being special think like that? Really? A special person talks like that? Really? A special person dresses like that? Really? A special person carries themselves like that? Really? A special person gets on the phone all day, every day and has these conversations? Really? A special person doesn't think they can have that? Really? A special person doesn't believe they can be whatever they want to be? Really? A special person doesn't, you are the only one that can ever be, and you can't have that? Then who else is it for? If a rainbow is not for you, who else is it for? If a sunset is not for you, who else is it for? If success is not for you, who else is it for? If you're not success, who else is? If not you, who? And if not you, who? And why them, not you? You can't get somebody else's health. You can't get somebody else's money. You can't, you can inherit certain things. You can hold certain things for a minute, but you have to deal with it at some point. So the you are going to be dealing with something that you got from someone else. That's why most lottery people end up being broke, because you can have something, but if it's not you, just because somebody gave it, you can't keep it any more than you could create it. You are special. You are important. You are valuable. You are invaluable. You are inviolable to your own life, your own existence. There's no way to separate you and yourself. There's no way to, it's like trying to separate God and man. You can't do it. There's only one. We're all one. It's only one in you, as you. There's only one. There's only you. You are special. Your problems are not. All the things going on outside of you, beside the other godlike figures like that are saying, I am just like you, everything else is not special. You can reproduce it, replicate it, get another one, get a new one, give it away, throw it away, but you are special. You are unique, you are valuable. And we're focusing on our problems, we're focusing on the things that aren't special. We're focusing on the things that can be reproduced, replicated, like money, like a job, like a this, like a that. We can get another one of those. But once you realize you're special, you'll live in a way where you can get whatever you want. Once you realize who you really are, that there is no one like you. There is never will be. No one can take your place. So who are you competing with? How can you compete and you don't have an equal? That doesn't even make any sense. How can you compete with no equal? It's not a competition. You're not on the same field. That's like an apple competing with an orange. You are the only you that ever is or ever will be. You don't have to compete with anyone. All you have to do is be you. And realize that if you are your full best you, being who you are, that has to be good enough. Otherwise, you would have never come here without it. If you come from a place that's good enough, why would you come here as not good enough? If you come here from a place with everything, why would you come here with not enough? If you come here as the creator of everything, why would you be here thinking you don't have control over anything? When did we lose that concept, that understanding, that knowledge? Right? Well, we lost it when we became what we think is our name. Right? That's what makes this thing so real, like we always talk about. But that's why we are here, is to become aware that, hey, I don't have to sit in the dark. I don't sit in the dark anymore. I'm not the baby sitting in my parents' arms. I'm now the adult holding the baby. I'm now consciousness holding my mind and realizing, telling my mind, turn the light on. It's dark in here. My mind is the baby looking around just terrified that it's dark. Or just looking around saying, oh, well, I guess this is, I don't know if there's any different. I guess it's just, You turn the light on, the baby looks around, the eyes get all big. They don't know what that is. They didn't have any say about that, right? They're just looking around like, hey, something new is happening. That's all your mind is a baby. Your consciousness is the parent. So whatever you're directing it to do, whatever you're telling it to do, it's having that experience. And you are special. You are that parent. Your mind is the baby. And babies just focus on whatever gets their attention and don't feel like they have any control of their world. They just express whatever they can, so to speak. So that's what our immature minds do. They focus on problems instead of who we really are, and who we really are is the solution. When you're focused on you, you're focused on a solution. When you're focused outside of you, you'll focus on the problems. Wherever your focus goes, that's where it's going. That's where you're going. When you're driving to Texas, you start swerving. Driving to Texas, you run the stop sign. Driving to Texas and run the red light. Just when we're distracted, right? There's no such thing as multitasking. It's switching. They call it literally, mentally, it's called switching. There's no such thing as multitasking. People think, no, your consciousness can only be focused on one thing at a time. Your subconscious kicks in when that consciousness is focused on something else. That's why they say when you're switching, your IQ is lower than someone who has smoked marijuana. Your IQ drops below someone who's done it. Because your mind is now double-minded. It's now switching off into other things. So it's not optimized for one thing. So you can either focus on the solution, realizing who you are, the solution, yourself. You can focus on yourself and be your own salvation. That's what the solution is, salvation. When you're looking outside, that's not salvation. Inside is where salvation is. The kingdom of heaven is within. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Greater is the power in you than anything outside of you. Anything outside of you that you're afraid of was made by something inside of you. I had to learn that to get over the fear of dogs. When I was, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10, I got bit by 2 Dobermans at the same time. I wasn't afraid of dogs before then. Otherwise, I'd have never been out there. I was swimming in this lady's pool. My mom came to pick me up. And she said, and I forgot my swimsuit outside, so I went and got it, and they bit me. I had been out there for, I don't know how long. If I would have thought that was a thought in my mind, I would have never went out there. The first time, much less going back out there, but I've been swimming all kind of times, but I got bit. Don't know why, just did, let's just say. So that took me a while to get over dogs. I'm like, oh shoot, every time I see a dog, I'm like, oh Lord, right? But that's where that fear came from. I didn't have it naturally. Much as people try to promote fear as natural, it's not. It doesn't do anything for you. It's not a positive thing. People promote it because people don't do the right thing until they're afraid. Oh, I'm gonna lose my job. Okay, now I'm gonna do it. Oh, I'm gonna do it. People, what you would do, what decision you could make in your right mind would lead you to never even having fear in the first place. And whatever decision you could have made with fear, you could have made without it. But you just didn't make it until you were afraid. So then you think fear is the thing that makes you make good decisions. But that's just because you're immature in your mind. Right? So, point I'm about to say is where you focus, that's where you're placing your power. That's where you're placing your belief. That's you're putting a battery into that thing. Like putting a battery into a remote or a battery into a car or a battery in, you are now making this thing which exists alive. Your belief is a battery. And you're making everything in your life that already exists alive by your belief in it, by your conscious awareness, assuming itself to be that thing. Whether it's wealth, whether it's health, you pull the battery out. I don't care how long you've been driving your car. You pull the battery out. See how long that goes. I don't care how long you've been using your remote. Pull the battery out. See if you can use it now. Your belief is the same thing. Your belief is the battery that is making all the things within you, whether it's a disease, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your health, whether it's your success, whether it's your failure, whether it's your whatever else it is, your belief, your consciousness, your belief in something is what's making that work. And if you pull your belief out of it, if you pull the assumption of you being that out of it, it will stop. It will die. Yes.
Sarah put in the chat, how do you fix this? By correcting the thought in that moment.
How do you fix what? How do you fix just any belief?
Was that a question?
Yeah, kind of like when you're thinking negatively, like in that moment, do you fix the thought? Like, for example, if someone is looking in the mirror and they say to themselves, I'm fat, or I feel that I'm fat, or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Are you fixing the thought, right? Like in that moment saying, no, you're not fat, you're, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm asking.
It's so it is, you can do both. It depends on on understanding that you're the owner. Here's what I mean. If someone knocks on your door, you can answer it or not answer it because you're the owner. So you don't answer it because you're scared of what happens if you don't. You don't answer it because you answer because you're the owner, or you decide not to answer it because you're the owner. There are thoughts that you don't have to own. You can let somebody knock on the door and be like, I own this house. I don't have to open the door if I don't want to. I don't feel like going downstairs. I ain't dealing with that. And you just let them knock and let it go by. You don't address it. You just let it go by. So let that thought go by. Sometimes they keep knocking. You go down and be like, what? If you feel like you have a thought that just keeps pressing you, then it's a thought that you deal with, because then you're saying, it's saying to you, this is something you really believe. It keeps showing up in your world because you keep replaying. So then you say, you know what? That's not the truth. You answer the door, boom. And you're like, oh, I didn't know if you could hear me or not, but I wanted to. Once you address it, you open the door, you can address it and say, you know, with the truth. You can say, you know what? No, I am now this. I realize you're banging on the door. You're trying to get my attention. You're showing me what I'm assuming myself to be. I can now just say, you know what? I see this thought. I'm now going to change this thought to this. I now am assuming I am this. I'm no longer that. So thought, thank you. I appreciate it. You're always just showing me what I'm thinking. Now I know I can address it. Now I'll slide you to the side. I'm now going to start consciously thinking I'm this. Every time I look in the mirror, I just say I'm beautiful. I am my perfect weight. I am whatever it is that you're wanting to say. And you may start doing that, like when you get into a new house, you know, you have different noises, you have different neighbors, you're getting used to the environment, so to speak. So you're getting used to this new thought that you have in your mind. But you get out and you walk the neighborhood. You get out and you go meet the neighbors. So you may walk in purposely with your eyes closed, and you walk up to the mirror, right? And you like, while my eyes are closed, I'm gonna say, I am healthy and beautiful. 5 times with my eyes closed. Then I'm gonna open my eyes, say it again, meaning I'm gonna go out and meet this thing, and I'm gonna keep saying this until I know my neighbors, until I'm familiar with the neighborhood, until now I've started to ingrain this new thought, because it's only a thought, and thoughts only become bigger with repetition. There is no good or bad thought. It's just thought. The outcome of that thought we call good or bad, but it takes no more to think this thought than that thought. But as we think one thought more than the other, it becomes bigger than the other because we have repeated it, right?
Yeah.
So you just change what you're thinking is just letting you know that it's in there, whether you see it or not, like your closet. You know your coat is in there, you don't have to see it, but it's in there. Your thought is letting you know what's in there, whether you say it or see it or not, it's in there. So when you want to take it out and say this coat no longer fits me, I go into my closet, I go into my mind and say, let me take this coat out. Right. And then the first couple of times you'll realize, dang, when you go in there, it's missing. Oh yeah, my coat is missing. That's right, I threw it out. Right. This thought comes, oh, that's right, you know what, I don't think that anymore. No, I don't think, hey, you know what? I don't think that anymore. This is what I think now. I don't think that anymore. This is what I think now. So a lot of times people to do that, like walk in the neighborhood, getting familiar with the neighbors, that's what like affirmation. Sometimes people will do that. They'll do something to just start repeating something in their mind that they want to start fixating on, right? And it just helps you get more familiar with the new jacket or your new neighbors or your new neighborhood because you're walking. You're constantly engaging with this new thing and it becomes more comfortable and familiar more quickly. Right? It's not something you have to do. You live there. You ain't got to meet nobody, right? You live there. And once you decided that you are this thing, you live there. Now you just want to figure out what's the best way to live where you live. Do you feel like you need to meet your neighbors? Do you feel like you want to, you know, do whatever, answer the door? As long as you're making that from a position of intent, understanding, and power. I'm not answering because I'm not scared. I'm not answering because I don't feel like going downstairs. I'm not hiding from this thought. I'm the thinker. I'm just going to choose another thought. Right? So however you want to approach that, you can approach it any way you want as long as it's from that space.
Got it.
Yep. Cool.
Thank you.
Welcome, my pleasure. So does everyone understand what we're saying here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This is important. This is important. There's only one part of you. There's only one part of your life that's special. That's you. All the problems and all the comings and goings, those things ain't special. You're special. All of us as individuals, we're special. Right? And in order to be impressive, we have to first be self-impressed, like I talked about last week. In order to be loved, we have to love ourselves. We're trying to figure out how to be loved from someone else or be loved in the world, and we're not willing to love ourselves. How to be forgiven by other people, but we won't forgive ourselves. We're trying to be rich, but money doesn't grow on trees. We're trying to get this external expression, but we're unwilling to attach ourselves to the mental experience. We're unwilling to attach ourselves to the consciousness of being because we want to see it first. So we start trying to manipulate the things we see. We start trying to dye our hair red, like we talked about a couple weeks ago. But you're going to have to keep dyeing it. You're going to have to keep trying to manipulate the outside because it's not truly happening. Yes, question.
Did you say in order for us to be impressed by others, we have to be impressive to ourselves first, or in order for us to impress others, we have to impress ourselves first?
Correct. We always have to be self-impressed before we impress. Right? You have to have a stamp before you can have ink. Then you have to have a stamp, and the stamp has to be pressed on the ink, and then that stamp you can put on paper. You have to be before you can express outwardly. So we must be self-impressed. We must be impressed with ourselves. We must have self-love before we can love anyone else properly and appropriately. What we call love ain't always. It's desperation. It's a whole lot of what happens if I don't. It's not because we don't love ourselves correctly. We can't love anything else correctly, not properly. We can try, we can mean one, but we don't. Right? So self first, out. You can only give what you have. You can only be what you are. Self-impressed, then you'll be impressed.
Thank you.
All right, last couple minutes, anything, that's good enough. I won't start anything new. Anything anyone wants to say? We got 5 minutes. Let's make the most of the time. Any questions, anything anybody wants to say, ask, whatever, maybe.
I just want to say thank you, Coach Lucky, because you really brought everything around full circle. When I got on the call this morning, you were like, oh, interesting. This is what we're going to talk about. You really brought it full circle, and it was even brought up without me even bringing it up.
Yes. My pleasure, Zoe. My pleasure. My pleasure. Good. Good.
I want to share some good news. So Coach Monique this morning, hey sis, she invited another community we're in. She invited all the members of the community to come today. I'm very careful about who I invite to communities like this and the morning meetup as well, because I'm so protective of these communities. And the group that she invited was a group of just, forward thinking women. And some of them are here today, which is awesome. And Coach Lucky, we just appreciate you. We appreciate you. And I want to do my part to protect the safe space that this is. We appreciate you, Vera, for real, because you're the reason a lot of us are here. So I tell people I was telling LaToya and our other friend this morning, we got to get on a call because this is accountability. It's not like you make uncomfortable accountability reasonable, we can see the other side. It's not man, I gotta do all this other stuff, I got all these burdens on my back and I still have to blah. It's fun to grow up in this space, if that makes sense. So continue to do what you're doing. We love you, we appreciate you, we are here for you, Vera, we are here for you, Goddess. It's my job to encourage. That's my duty while I'm on this planet, is to encourage, to cheer for others. So for some people that gets on their nerves, but we haven't met yet, so I can cheer for you, because when I'm cheering for you, you're gonna love it. You're doing an amazing job. I love you. I respect you. Thank you for being a solid brother in your community. I'm telling you, it's very important that I invite certain people to this space, because I don't want you just entertaining anything. You got to entertain what's ready to grow. So keep doing a great job. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sparkle Bailey. Thank you, Coach Monique. Thank you for inviting your counterparts, your cohorts. Thank you, whoever showed up. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you all, as always, for coming. We're always grateful and honored, and it's a pleasure and privilege to be able to come together and reason. Even though I'm up here running my mouth, so to speak, I am part of the group like everyone else. I'm living life like everyone else. So it's great to hear from you all. That's why I really encourage participation, because I want to hear from you all. You all are special, meaning you all have unique individual gifts and talents that I listen to as much as you're listening to me, that I learn from as much as you can learn from me. And so I appreciate you all and your participation, because I get to hear answers that make me think. I get to hear questions that make me think, and I get to apply and live this stuff like we all do. It's a lifestyle that we always talk about. So thank you all of you. Thank you all.
Coach, I want to say,
Lucky.
Oh, that was Leslie and then Justin.
All right, go ahead, Les.
I just said this is my favorite place to get a nap.
Favorite place to get a nap.
To get it out, that's it. That's it. Hey man, look, because I'm encouraging, I'm motivating. I'll circle it for you. That's it. Oh man, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming, always. Justin, sir.
Another banger, Coach Lucky. Thank you like always.
Man, my pleasure. It's good to see you and Cynthia. Good to see you both.
Coach, I just want to piggyback off of what my sister Sparkle Bailey said. This is a safe space to reflect. Whereas if I can compare, when I've been in other groups, I've been maybe made to feel guilty about being flawed. Where this is a space where that F, it's okay to look in the mirror and love what I see, and if I don't like it or if I'm uncomfortable with it, to change it and be gentle with who I am.
Yes.
And not beat myself up for what I've done, and just growing going forward and loving on me in the process. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. And that's absolutely right. There's a quote that says, it's in the wisdom book, it says, there is no condemnation to those that are in Christ Jesus. That doesn't mean be a Christian. It just means there's no condemnation to that mind that knows who it is. It doesn't need to condemn itself. That's why the father and the prodigal son didn't condemn the son when he came back. What did it say? He ran out and met him, and he embraced him and said, quick, put the coat on, put his staff on, put his hand, put his ring on, slay that. There's no condemnation when we're thinking properly. We make adjustments, we learn, we move on, we apply, we rinse and repeat, so to speak. There's no condemnation. All the guilt and all the name calling, all the feeling sad and all the beating ourselves up. That's what humanity in our ignorance does. But we're now rising to a higher level of consciousness, knowing that, man, we are who we are, and we're learning that. And as we become aware, we apply at a different level, we experience life at a different level, and we know that we can do or be or have anything. Right? So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate you all. Love you all. I'm so happy and grateful. I can't tell you how much I look forward to every Saturday, how much I turn it on at 6:28 or so and see who's in here to talk. Can't wait to talk. I can't wait for every Saturday. This is one of the highlights of my week. So I thank you all for the honor and privilege to be with you all, to talk with you all, to reason with you all, and to grow with you all. We're all growing, right? So thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Veronica, for all that you do as well, moderating all this stuff. Appreciate it, because otherwise you guys wouldn't get your questions answered at all, because I'd just be up here talking or probably not even breathe and just keep talking. So thank you as well. And thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful, great Saturday. Apply. Be a doer, not just a hearer. Apply. Decide what you want. Assume you are what you want. And stay in it. Stay in it. The longer you're there, the more you see. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you all.
Love you guys.
Talk to you later.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
All right, coach.
Giovanni,
Thank
there she
you.
is. There she is. Yeah, like the DJ Khaled of the group. That's it. That's it. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.